What the hell is that? Okay, there you go. Hey,
Good
Matt.
morning, Nicholas.
hey, hey, Mayor. How are you?
Good. Happy to be here, guys.
Maier, thank you for being part of our show.
Yeah.
So, Nicholas, I'm looking at you through this screen. This is a video and audio podcast, and the lighting's kind of tough, but you look a little tired.
I am tired. I just get off the red eye direct from Vegas and arrive home, had a 1 hour sleep, and then I got a phone call that I couldn't miss. So wake up and ready, here we go, man.
Attack the day. Attack the day.
All right, we got a full stack of news today. This is going to be a really cool, fun show, and we have a really wonderful special guest. But before we go there, let's get started. All right, everybody, this is Nico with eStreamly, the company that gets you live stream and video commerce on your site, social media, email, SMS, wherever you are. The video is shoppable. So excited to be here. I'm here with my great friend, Matt from E6 Marketing, the company that gets you on QVC and HSN. And we have another wonderful special guest, Maier Bianchi, the founder of Bemeir. It's a really wonderful agency, e-com agency. But I think the best will be for you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hey, I'm Maier Bianchi, founder of Bemeir. We help accelerate the growth trajectory of digitally native brands and traditional B2B and B2C organizations. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And we met at Meet Magento, what it was like in Florida. And then I met you again at the Meet Magento New York. And I mean, honestly, like I keep hearing your name air and air, and like people really love working with you. So I figured like, hey, it would be fantastic to have you on the show. And I know you're producing your own content as well. You have your own pod, and I think it's going to be really cool. And you really prepare some really cool story for today. So Matt, before we go there, why don't you tell us what the show is about?
Yeah, Maier, again, thank you very much for being on the show. And thank you everyone for listening or tuning in. This is called the VCommerce podcast. Nicholas and I host the show each week, each Friday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. What is VCommerce? Video commerce is the storytelling, social selling app that was born in DRTV, direct response television, graduated to home shopping with QVC, HSN, and a number of other channels, and now is available anywhere and everywhere through your social selling, through your apps, through your phone, through your tablets and TV. So we cover 3 or 4 hot topics of the week. There's always news in this format of video commerce shopping. There's always something to talk about. And Maier, it's interesting that you're with us today because I think one of the first topics that I saw that I wanted to talk about, I can't wait to hear your perspective on it, is a story that I saw Ron Wardle post just this week on LinkedIn talking about the struggles with TikTok. So TikTok, specifically TikTok Shop. TikTok Shop is something, Maier, that we probably talk about 3 out of 4 weeks on this show. There's always something happening with TikTok and TikTok Shop. And this article gave an interesting perspective in talking about the challenges of TikTok Shop US compared to internationally. So I kind of broke down his post, and you could look up Ron Wardle's post on LinkedIn, WARDLE, Ron Wardle. He works in the video commerce space as well. But he basically gave pros and cons. Pros of TikTok Shop in the US being the algorithm, obviously, the engaging content, the flash sale, and the influencers, and what the influencers do to garner and grow sales. Then the cons are obviously currently the regulatory hurdles, the potential ban, which could happen as early as next week, the high cost of entry, which I know Nicholas has an opinion about with video and everything that you put into video commerce, and then the strategy. Long form versus short form, multiple people doing it, how long, spend an hour on 3 products versus 1 product, all that kind of thing. So I want to ask you, Nicholas, first, like how do you look at TikTok Shop in 2025? Is this a blip on the growth scale, or is this a trend that the platform is going to struggle?
I think, like you think about TikTok, I think it's not going away. I think we've talked this quite extensively. Like they're talking about some potential investors that are going to come in and take it over from the government is not going to let it go. especially if they can make it where they can get 50% of equity for the sovereign fund that they've been talking about. For sure, they're going to figure out a way to get this going. But honestly, I think it's my hearing when I was been at the Shoptalk this week. People were talking about TikTok quite extensively, and what I was hearing is like, you've got the people that are leaning in, and then there's the one that are just on wait and see mode. And so I think what we're seeing now is just that, for a brand that wants to be on TikTok, it's not like a click of a switch, especially if they're not on Shopify. It require effort and time and capital and money. And those brands, they are like, okay, do I want to invest now or just wait 3 months to see if that's going to go through? And I think that's what a lot of brands have been taking the pass on. So, but like I will tell you, at Shoptalk, TikTok has probably had the biggest booth. So they were like, and there was like a lot of people, and they were just, so they do definitely are not showing any path of slowing down. I don't know what you think on your side, Maier, but I don't know.
I'm seeing it as still one of the most like desired channels that people want to go after, because I think brands are always looking for new territory, given that the advertising space is so crowded. And so I just keep seeing that demand also, because it's just like, hey, I've heard a lot about this channel. How could we get in on it? And I think that's always the message. And so it's still like at that tipping point. And I do find it interesting because the theme of the article is that the execs are under pressure. So wouldn't they sell harder? Wouldn't they deploy their budgets harder because they have to in order to survive? And so I think if you have, and the fact that TikTok came back on the App Store after the announcement, I just think that for example, I uninstalled it before and I'm like, hey, I want to put it back. But I'm like, then if this deadline's coming, what am I going to do? So I'm sure there's some hesitancy around it. And also maybe just that there's other marketplaces like, YouTube, or I don't know, maybe not as big, but there's a lot of people nipping at their heels. And so I would just say that now that you've had so many defined agencies and companies building around it, it's not going to go anywhere. And I think once there's that clarity on what's going to happen, that's when you're going to see it explode even more. So I think the people that are investing in it now are only going to be more successful later in terms of brands. And
it's interesting because obviously TikTok Shop is also opening more and more channel internationally, right? We heard this week it was in Germany, I think it was 3 weeks ago, it was Mexico. So they're completely expanding. So it's certainly, they have a playbook. The US market is a very tough market. We all know that. And now they're going into other markets and expanding. It's going to keep firing for me.
We've talked about it before. Like, the algorithm is so good.
Yeah.
And don't you want to buy stocks when it's down, knowing that it'll grow? So I think it's a great time to invest in TikTok Shop. I really do. If there's hesitation, it works. It obviously works. The U.S. customer doesn't have a long history with it. It's less than 2 years, or about 2 years now since it's been in the U.S. But if you're considering this kind of a thing, I think it's a great time to start investing into at least the research into how the influencers work, what kind of revenue is necessary to build an opportunity through the platform, because it's an amazing platform.
And to lead to the second story, I think Maier, you had brought some interesting about in a way, right? What can virality do to a brand? And I'd love to hear your thought on what you found out.
Yeah, so there was a Vogue article published about the viral brands that are going viral, and then that is blowing them up in the market. So for example, Satchel Beauty and Wonderskin are good examples that they referenced in there in the beauty industry, where they had a single viral product or a single viral video, which led to propel the brand. And I think that's interesting in the world we live in, because it's also, you see that TikTok music, right? You don't need to have a hit song on the radio now. It's like you need to make a song that goes viral on TikTok. So I think we're seeing again that concentration, and I could imagine that there, just like there was people that are trying to capitalize on every trend, you probably have literal factories of people just saying, hey, how can I move 20,000 units of this item and make it seem like more something? And then if it clicks, okay, we hit that one, let's keep going. And so is it AstroTurf or is it real? I would say beauty specifically is such a big industry, you know, like with Serafina and those kinds of companies. Oh, always is it Serafina? Sephora? Sorry, I'm thinking of the
Sephora.
yeah,
Right.
Sephora targeting younger and younger audiences. It only makes sense that you would see that happen in beauty. So yeah, what do you think about this?
Yeah, we've talked about the beauty category before. I work with beauty brands through QVC and HSN, and for a long time I've seen the power of video in that format, in that category. So it makes complete sense of Vogue talking about this. It absolutely works. Before and afters, demonstrations, illustrations, showing the customer what it does and how it does it. All of that, it plays right into what they do. And I think that the viral videos is just an indicator of getting more people into the stores of Ulta and Sephora, which are the two primary US retailers. Like, I think they complement one another. Going viral and creating a viral video, I don't understand that. I don't understand what makes a video viral, what versus what doesn't. I think there's a lot of luck that goes into that kind of thing. But if you're producing strong content and really good content through your beauty brand, you're inevitably going to catch fire with some kind of viral viewership.
I think Maier is really asking an interesting question, right? Is having a product that is viral making you a brand or not, right? Is the essence of the brand because you have one viral product making the essence of the brand, or is it like the brand is a collection of, you know, identities getting together and have this long historical thing? And I think that is something that I think it's hard, because when you look at all the beauty brand that has been going on for years, a lot of them didn't have that virality moment that some of those younger brands that are coming on the market have. And is it like because the problem with virality is like it's a one thing and then it's gone, right? It has this element of like ephemerism, right? I don't know what you think on that, Mayor, but
well, yeah, I
occurs with that.
I would say it's just this, right? It's sold because it was hot. What does that say about the ingredients? What does that say about the sourcing of the products? What does that say about the, you know, where it sits in the market in terms of cost, or, you know, how does it get past that point if it's just coming from one channel? And I think if you look at companies like Glossier, they were like the beauty darling of the last X years, where they started online, transitioned to in-store, and now they're a known commodity, but that wasn't by accident. And so I would say maybe it's just that going viral is a way to get on the radar, and then you deploy your messaging after that. It just is a new way to be seen or to stand above the crowd.
Yeah.
Well, it isn't going viral with this particular product basically the brand's hero product? Every brand has a hero product.
Yeah,
every
true.
brand starts somewhere, and that hero product, in my world, that hero product is their number one SKU. So if their number one SKU is also the viral SKU, then it makes complete sense. And you build off of that viral video or off of that hero product, and you build a successful brand. So the word viral is kind of tough in my world. Like what goes viral? How does it work? All that kind of stuff. You're kind of throwing things out there, hoping that it catches fire. I wouldn't be banking on that as a brand. Like let's produce a viral presentation or a viral product. Like that's just pie in the sky. Like that's not something you build anything off of.
Yeah, and I know we're going to change gears in a second, but also celebrity brands, and that the fact that celebrities have so many types of brands, so naturally you're converting that currency into a brand. And so again, what's the real story behind why it went viral? Was it just organic, or is there some backer or someone, you know, like, again, the algorithm? But I think that also goes into it when there's a story behind it after when people look one step further.
I agree. I wanted to talk about another topic with you, both of you.
And Nico makes a good point also.
Yeah, of course. Changing gears, but YouTube changing its way it looks at short form and long form videos. So I have been on this show for well over a year now, Nicholas, and I'm always touting how much I love YouTube. I love the platform. I don't love the content, how the channel is built. I'm not particularly fond of the visuals, but what YouTube does, I'm on YouTube all the time, and I watch all kinds of different content, and I love the platform as a viral platform or as a popular platform. So now they're starting this Monday, the 31st. They're changing how they look at views and what counts as views on YouTube, which doesn't sound like a big deal for the average YouTube consumer, but the same thing's happening at Instagram and TikTok, where something's seen versus something watched. And what does that mean? And I will tell you, from an avid YouTube viewer, the number of clicks or the number of views a video gets, it subconsciously goes into my mind even before I click on it. Like, is this a brand new video from an influencer or from a company that doesn't have a lot of followers because they only have 15 views? Or is it a $1.2 million clip of a video that, like, so many people have seen? I lean towards the more popular clip. Yeah. So if they're changing how they look at that algorithm on YouTube to basically boost the numbers, this essentially is going to change how everyone looks at the content, how advertisers look at the content, how the creators look at their own content. It kind of changes the game. So I'm interested in hear what Maier and Nicolas, what both of you have thought about with just this entire thing about click versus view versus seen. What do you think that means in our social commerce world?
Well, I think, most publisher, they pay you in impression, right? So at the end of the day, if they are counting the impression as the seen, it's easier to be seen than to be actually viewed. And I think one of the challenge, when I talk to brand that we work with, the challenge is like they all say, hey, can we artificially push the views because we want to be, look bigger than we are. And I think, like if we know that YouTube is not really leaning into that and all the other platforms are, this is something that brand, for their personal ego, some of them wants to see. And so by switching from seen to view, you're not lying technically, you're just, changing how you count. And I think, like everyone kind of like that. And by the way, it's always like, like how you see a lot of those media deck where the guys say, hey, we have 50 million followers. And well, they have basically, we've been 15 million impression. And it's like, it's an agency that has like 5 different social media, and they all have like 100,000 followers on each of them. And they count and then aggregate, and then they count their viral video and everything. And they say, this is, I mean, it's just a way of counting. People like big numbers, and I think that's what it fit into.
Well, I think seen is a more digestible way to say impression, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it just a rebranding of the word impressions? What I got when I heard that earlier is just, I think people don't know what impression means. And so it's like, like I guess, or, impression sounds so technical, or it's only an ad term. So your video has been seen by 1 million people versus your video got 1 million impressions. I think it connotates something very different, right? Like,
is it going to work, Maier, as a marketing tool for YouTube, changing how they talk about this and how their algorithm changes?
Absolutely. I think they'll never lose. And also, again, if there's talk about monopolies and breakups, it's just everyone wants to stay ahead of the curve. And so,
yeah,
like, for example, I'm posting clips for my podcast, e-commerce hotline, and I see the thing that shows how many views it got. And then you look at the amount of time, then you got to go one level deeper to see the amount of engagement. But still, if I was trying to hype myself up to someone and be like, listen, my clips have been seen by 1 million people.
Yeah, there you go.
And then they've been viewed by 10,000, which is, it's a different magnitude. So I would just say, yeah, I mean, people can use that in any way they want. Just like if you got to 5,000 subscribers, you can say, hey, advertiser, I have 5,000 subscribers. It's on the advertisers to do their due diligence, but that's what I think a lot of people do is just boost accounts so they have a metric to go shop themselves for.
Yeah. Maier, I love your opinion on this, and Nicolas and I have talked about this a lot. Like YouTube versus Instagram, or YouTube versus Meta versus TikTok. Like, from your marketing perspective, what platform do you like? What platform do you think's growing the most? And where would you like to invest your time in when you talk about social commerce?
So when I think about data, I don't have all the data to back this up. Sorry, that alarm's going off. But I was going to say, I don't have all the data to back this up. I just think if we go back to the platforms that are making these native integrations available, like Shopify, for example, how they have the channel that you can flip on and be on YouTube and be on TikTok and be on Instagram. Like Instagram is harder, like, harder to integrate live with. But I would say, like, if you have the ability to push your stuff to all these channels, you should be like, I just think having a multifaceted social media strategy, once again, if time is your limited currency and I had to pick one, going back to the original part of this discussion, I would go with TikTok, because you're getting crowded out in Instagram, and then maybe YouTube is not where people go to shop initially, right? Like the shopping comes after. I'm watching a Mr. Beast video. Okay, buy this t-shirt. That's coming with it. Or there's something, oh, I like this streamer, they're selling something. But I think on TikTok Shop, you have people literally checking in to shop, or you have like, Flip Shop is the other big social video commerce app. People go on there to shop. It's like, like you said, you were at QVC before. It's just a new way of sitting in your chair and
I think
you don't need.
I think you're making such a great point. I think if you're a new brand and you have to pick one, I definitely will say TikTok should be the place, because that's where you will get the promotion with the algo and everything. Now, if you have built this following, and if it's your place about retention, then I would just continue leaning in on, existing channel, like obviously the Insta. But you were making, when we were preparing, you were making a good point with Pinterest, trying to kind of, there was it's a media that we kind of often forgot, but they're still there.
They're so huge, yeah.
And they're huge, and they bring on talent, and people really shop and engage on Pinterest more and more. So I'm curious to see how this is going to play out for sure as well.
Yeah, and no, so just one quick back to the last one, then I'll jump forward to Pinterest. Was that, you ever heard of a brand, Mini Katana or Kampai Foods, founded by the same guy? This guy Isaac Mediero has been following him. Huge YouTube following, hundreds of millions of views, and they've turned that into successful brands. So if you're a content creator and you build up on YouTube, then it makes sense to tie it together.
Yeah,
but anyhow, back to Pinterest. Yeah, Pinterest. They just poached an executive from Meta, was the article from this week that I was reading. And I think that shows that they're like, hey, we're not going anywhere. Our ad platform is another way for brands to monetize. And I think it's album driven, right? Or collection driven. People make collections. There's still people that use it for mood boards. And so I have to check, but does it even support video? But again, in a video driven world, they must be trying to not betray their audience while still get in on the video trend.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, Matt, that's quite interesting, all those dynamic. I'll just drop a quick word about Shoptalk. Obviously, Shoptalk was this week. Something like 300 something exhibitors. A lot of brands obviously came to the show. As usual, Shoptalk is in Vegas, so there's a lot happening after the show. Like there's like a myriad of like events and stuff organized by all the vendors and the partners and all that. So it's just a fantastic show. I really enjoyed it. This year they had changed the format where now it's a free 3 days of actual floor where the booth and everything is open. It used to be where it was 2 days, and then you had the last day where it was only content. So they changed that. So I personally was not able to see any piece of content, which was very frustrating, because they do have like some really cool exec showing up and talking shop actually. So that was the frustrating part. But as you can imagine, the conversation were very much around obviously AI. Everyone is looking at AI. What's the use case? What's the right use case? How people starting to play out? I'm still hearing that everyone seems to agree that there's not yet a use case for AI in commerce, that like something that is clear cut, everyone's adopting it. So I think everyone is still trying to dabble, either from a logistics standpoint, which has been going on for many years, like with forecasting and all that, either from a customer service standpoint. But all those things are moving. They are being talked about. We were just talking. I was talking with one of the people that were there. We were talking about they now have new words, right? Look, agentic. I don't know if you heard that word, but it was talked quite a bit at Shoptalk, and that's kind of a word that I personally heard like only 2 weeks ago. Sorry. Obviously, ChatGPT released their Gleamy, or how does that, like this new image thing, and so my whole LinkedIn feed is fed by people taking selfie at Shoptalk and then putting on LinkedIn. So obviously I had to do that too. But very interesting conversation around AI and what the future is. I will say that there was some really interesting thing in the secondary market, and some people I was talking to about how they are thinking about using AI, especially with secondary market where they buy the product and they don't have a way to do nothing like the picture and the video and all that. It's very difficult. And so I think there's a really interesting use case where we talked about this, like if I can take a picture, feed that to an AI, and then turn this into a video, and now starting to demonstrate the product for video, but doing it at scale, right? Now, like if you do second and product, the problem is that it's every new box you get, it's a new product. And so how do you scale that to on the content standpoint? And it's only for one piece of product or maybe two. And so this idea of like for the secondary market, being able to turn any photo into a video that you can quickly bring on at scale to a website. I found this is like a really fascinating use case that will probably be amazing. And we know secondary market is only going to grow, and it's only growing because in this economy, people are trying to figure out a way to, reduce spending, and secondary market I think is a great opportunity. So I found this one was specifically interesting on the conversation. And then obviously retail media was the continuous talk. Everyone talks about retail media and trying to figure out how their retail media strategy. I think all the retailers that I talk to that are not yet into having their own retail media network, they're trying to figure out how to create. So everyone wants to have a place and a new source of revenue around media. So I thought like it was interesting. So as soon as you have some sort of traffic in your audience, like in your store, like you want to try to figure out a way to monetize, so the brand that are on your site can actually pay you for that extra audience. And it's really blurring the line. Like I think everyone's going to be an ad company. I was telling you, like it feels to me that we were saying like everyone is a media company, but I think maybe the future is everyone's going to be an ad company.
The commoditizing of eyeballs.
I completely. It was amazing. Like this, and people are pushing to that. So the other big thing that I found, and I don't know what you think on that, but there was no talk about live shopping or video commerce in the whole shop talk, like in the program. So I don't know if it means that the trend is no longer a trend, but I just thought that was surprising to me. So anyway,
wow, that is surprising.
Yeah,
that is really surprising. Well, Maier, I'm sure you feel the same way. Like any brand should have a video commerce or a video element to what they do, no matter what you do today.
Yeah, my head was just exploding with what Nick was saying. That number one, like about the aftermarket stuff, I was like, oh my God, that's genius. Because now anything somebody was selling on Craigslist or Goodwill or, trying to get rid of something, you're more likely to excite somebody if you had some more description or video. But then, yeah, I would say I still see it being used. I went to a baseball store in Atlanta. Shouts out to betterbaseball.com. They have the most amazing selection of bats and gloves. And so they have a guy live streaming on Instagram, demoing products, selling products. And I think when it's stuff like that is very niche, it makes sense to have that one level, like the expert, because people buy from a friendly, relatable person who knows the audience and knows what they're talking about. And then the same thing in the cannabis industry, a company called The Flowery in Florida, they're a medical cannabis company, has done these ridiculous product drops on Sundays where they have a whole people in a studio. They did a whole Beavis and Butthead themed like TV show, or another one where they were sitting on a dock. And so I think it's really interesting that you can get really creative with it and again, excite your existing audience, and you're giving them something more. And then you're becoming more than just a place they shop. You're getting connected to a community. And so I think
that's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it. They're content creators without wanting to be content creators. They know the value of the content. And
I think it's an awesome shout out. Product. I love this shout out, right? I think it's pretty and I actually live in Marietta, so I'm right by the store. So I definitely want to.
You know them?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was in Marietta. Next time I go, I'm gonna hit you up, man. I was there for like a day, and yeah, their store is incredible. You got to see it, man. It's the biggest.
Yeah, I got to see that store. Like I see the advertisement when I drove by. I'm like, I got to stop by one day because everyone talks about this store. So hey everyone, great show today. 29 minutes. We're definitely way over time, but it's been a really cool conversation. Thank you, Maier, for coming. Where can people find you? Maybe you want to do a special shout out before we go.
Yeah, thanks. I'm Maier Bianchi. Connect with me on LinkedIn for professional content. I'm growing a small budding Instagram, which I don't know where it's going yet. But really, the cause I want to share, I'm passionate about, is I started something called Hearts of Commerce to raise awareness about genetic and other heart disease in the e-commerce space. Because as you guys know, heart disease is the leading cause of death. It's overlooked until it's too late. And I'm on a mission to help raise awareness amongst the e-commerce community, where these big companies were spending money like it's the end of before the French Revolution. And if we just put more focus on employee health, access to life-saving tools in our spaces, and also, like, because we're such a big connected industry, the collective force of the e-commerce industry can save lives. And especially when 1 in 250 people have hypertrophic cardiomyopathy like I do, that's the most common genetic heart disease. And screening can literally make a difference, or just talking to your doctor about your family heart history can save a life. And so that's something where I feel like I can make an impact. And it's also, not just about, fulfilling tickets and making things happen. It's more human issue. So thanks for the chance to talk about it.
I love that. Well, thank you for being here. We are here every Friday on LinkedIn at 11. We try to be on time, but as you can see, not always. But we're trying hard to be on time every Friday, 11 Eastern. You can also find us on YouTube as well as on Facebook, and obviously Shopify and Apple Podcasts. If you like the show, please comment. Feel free to check obviously our guest, and if you have any question about video commerce, or if you are just about to launch your own e-com or you want to upgrade your e-com, a great place to call. I call Maier. He'll be happy to help you. Matt, awesome to see you, and see you again next Friday.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Thanks, guys.
All right.